All right, so we're going to talk about individual training accounts first, or as we call them, ITAs. So an ITA is kind of like a scholarship. It's the funds that are available for WIOA eligible participants to get training for high demand jobs from approved training providers. So that could be youth, dislocated worker, or adults. So, what is covered by ITA? So, what is if it's a long-term program like nursing that has about 6 semesters or 5 semesters, only the last 4 are covered up to the maximum cost category voted on by the local board, and we'll go over those in a minute. And it's tuition and fees only. So what is not covered by ITA are any prerequisite, remedial, or general study classes. And then books and supplies are not covered by ITA unless the participant is ineligible to receive the Pell Grant, and they have to submit their Pell Grant information when they apply for an ITA. Also, any testing fees after graduation for certification, like the NCLEX for nurses after graduation, are not covered by ITA, but there are supportive services money available through the career centers that ITA participants can use to be reimbursed for those testing fees. So with registered apprenticeships, they're a little different from everyone else as far as providers of ITA. So as long as the employer is registered with the Alabama Office of Apprenticeship or the U.S. Department of Labor Office of Apprenticeship, they can be an ETPL provider. They have to be registered as a provider on our Alabama Works site on the ETPL. For any of these apprentices, the TABE assessment is waived. So usually all other ITA participants have to take the TABE, which is the test for adult basic education, and it gives their grade level, so we know where they stand. But for apprentices, they do not have to do this. Um, Also, for any registered apprentices, ITAs will cover the tuition and fees up to the maximum amount for the local area. All books, tools, and supplies necessary for coursework will be covered by Pell Grant first, but everything after that can be covered by the ITA. And this is provided these are not employer funded, so there'll have to be documentation for all of that. And then certification and licensing exams that are required for the program completion. If these are included during the apprenticeship, they're also covered by ITA. So for a registered apprenticeship ITA, the participant must be WIOA eligible and demonstrate the need for assistance on their individual employment plan. And that's an assessment that's done at enrollment that goes over any needs or barriers or anything that the participant has. The case manager will fill all that out and enter it. And also there will be case notes to accompany. The registered apprentice program must be on the ETPL. We cannot pay for any programs that are not on the ETPL, and they have to provide their Form 671 showing they are indeed an apprentice and not just trying to get into a program. They also have to submit progress reports and grades or completion certificates as required by the program to continue to receive funding. So for ITA programs, I've been talking about the ETPL, and that's the Eligible Training Provider List. It's available on alabamaworks.alabama.gov. If you go to the home screen and scroll down, you can click on ETPL approved programs, and it will give you a list of everything that's approved. And you can look it up by the program or the school or the area you live in to see what kind of training is available close to you. So for the cost categories, we have 4 different cost categories, and they vary depending on the length of training. So some of the longer ones, we allow more, and then some of the shorter ones, it's less. So for cost category one, it's 26 weeks or less, and there you get a certificate, a license, or a skill specific credential. This is a lot of our shorter CNA classes or CDL. They will cover up to 4,500. If it's more than that, it's up to the participant to cover the remaining amount. And then category two is up to 7,500. Category three, you see it says up to 10,000 to 12,000. Each area got to vote on what they wanted these cost categories to be. And area three voted for 12,000 for category three, and one, two, five, and six only voted for up to 10,000. Area four is going to vote on January 21st. So once they vote, all of this information will be available to the case managers so they'll know exactly from which area how much we will pay for up to. So for greater than 52 weeks to 104 weeks, that's any kind of your nursing programs or associate's degree programs, is going to cap off at either 10,000 or 12,000. Some other ITA requirements, some, depending on the program, have additional suitability requirements beyond just WIOA eligibility. And one of the examples I have is for a CDL, we require the MVR, the motor vehicle report, that's no more than 30 days old, a drug screening results that are no more than 2 weeks old, the DOT physical certificate, and a CDL permit. And these are required to show that once they do complete their training, that they can get a job, and because these things are going to be required by employers, so we make sure that they are suitable for the training and the career after the training. For suitability for ITAs, WIOA is not an entitlement program, so sometimes people can be eligible, but they may not be suitable. So sometimes we get people that may have a master's degree that are WIOA eligible, but they may not be suitable for an ITA. These are for people who are lacking marketable skills and have no previous training. This is due to limited funding. As many of you know, our funding gets cut every year. And so we want to make sure that we are using our ITA funds on people that really need it, that don't have other options to be able to go and get the training they need to have a sustainable job after. So some of the additional requirements for ITAs are the TABE requirements. So all dislocated workers and adults must take the TABE locator. Youth have to take the full TABE, and these are the levels that are required based on the type of training that they are looking to go into. Some of the nursing programs require a higher grade level than some of the shorter term or like the commercial driver's license training. Simply because the training itself is harder and we want them to succeed. So if they come in and they get a lower TABE score than what's required, they can go through remediation and re-TABE again. And if their score comes up to the level that they need to be able to be in one of the programs, we will allow them in then. After the participants complete their ITA, they're expected to go have a job. So training related employment is entered after they complete, either right after, and then it's also entered in the 4 quarters of follow-up after. And we want to make sure that they're getting a job that's related to the training that they received. So one of the new things that we will be adding this year to our ITA guidelines, which will be updated February 1st, is to go ahead and assign a BSR to the ITA participant when they enroll, so that everyone knows that they're already looking, when they start training, that they're already looking for a career in this specific field and we have someone who is in training who is going to be graduating, and see if you can find any openings. We highly encourage participants to roll into the on-the-job training after their ITA so that it ensures that they're continuing that training and using the skills they learned, and it goes into a career. So for ITAs, these are our performance measures that come out every year for adults, dislocated workers, and youth. And you see the employment rate in the second and fourth quarter, median earnings, all of this has to be recorded um, based on from the participants. The case managers will be recording this. So this is ITAs that are done correctly. And when the students succeed, we get credit for all of these, and it makes the state and all the areas look much better, and we could get more funding for it. So next I'm going to talk about the eligible training provider list, the ETPL. So the ETPL is a list of Alabama approved WIOA training provider programs. Any program that's listed on the ETPL is eligible for an ITA, and you can view the ETPL at alabamaworks.alabama.gov and scroll down and you'll see ETPL approved programs. So how can providers get on the ETPL? It's open for applications July 1st through October 31st. This is also the time when existing programs can make any changes to their currently approved programs. Application are completed online only through the website, and then register apprenticeships can submit their information any time of the year. They don't have to do it just the July 1st to October 31st. For ETPL programs, the maximum total cost for an ETPL program is $20,000. We cannot fund more than 10,000 as you saw, and we don't want programs that are astronomically high. We want them all to be reasonably priced for our participants. Short-term training programs of 52 weeks or less are preferred. Sometimes we will allow programs up to 104 weeks on the ETPL, but we prefer the shorter term programs so that these participants can get their training and go and get into a job. Occupation upon completion must be in a high demand and high wage job according to LMI data. The training must earn a WIOA recognized credential, and anyone on the ETPL must have a brick and mortar site in Alabama. Performance must be submitted online before a program can be approved for the ETPL. So all of these are reviewed. These are some of the performance things that we ask for. There are lots more, but we usually want to know the number served, the number completed, that withdrew, transferred, the number that completed and were employed within 6 months and a year, and the number who attained a credential during and after participation. Registered apprenticeships on the ETPL are automatically eligible. They are not limited to the July 1st, October 31st. Like I said, they have to submit a letter to be included on the ETPL, and they have to register and do all of those steps to be on there. But the performance aspect is not required for registered apprenticeships. And that is all that I have for you today. It was short and sweet. I guess I can take a minute for any quick questions. Kind of went through it fast.
Mm.
All right. Well, the recording for this will be posted on the YouTube page. And if you do come up with any questions, just reach out to us, to your area liaison, and we'll get them answered. Thank you.
Thank you.